Welcome to another episode of I'm Dying to Tell You. Uh, I'd like to speak to you about the difference between success and happiness. Now, there are some people who are very successful and they're happy, but there's a lot of people who achieve enormous success and they're not happy. And I want to dedicate this to my good friend, Chip Conley. You may know about Chip. He's one of the top speakers in the world. He started out connected to something called Joie de Vivre Hotels. He sold that. And then he went over to Airbnb. And then what he realized is he reached a point where 5 of his friends died by suicide. And he was suicidally depressed. He had all the money in the world. And he realized that achievement wasn't making him happy. So from there, he launched something called the Modern Elder Academy. And you can find it, Modern Elder Academy. And this is for other people who have been successful, but something's missing. And in our conversation on my podcast, my wake up call, I suggested that he might have something called the syndrome of disavowed yearning. And he said to me, "What is that?" And I said, "I think when we are born whole into the world, and then we're incomplete. We're not only incomplete, we're totally dependent and helpless after being totally in control in our mother's womb, hopefully, if she took somewhat good care of herself." And I said that what happens is there's a memory of wanting to be totally whole. I've actually recorded an episode called Dust to Dust, Ashes to Ashes, Whole to Whole, because at this stage of my life, I feel completely whole. And you can check that one out in the series. And I said, it's possible that what you did is you disavowed needing to be whole or wanting to be whole because it wasn't to be had. And for most of us, it wasn't to be had because our parents are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And wanting them to connect to us, not just in terms of our physical needs, but our emotional needs, to be an exact fit so that we can feel whole and we can relax and we can exhale, is usually not to be had. And what I suggested to Chip and to many of you who are successful but not happy is that you convinced yourself that you didn't need it. That's the disavowed yearning. And if you pivot to something like achievement and you get great grades and you get pats on the head and you say, that is wonderful, you can smile and say, this is terrific. But the point is, you can do that for 40 or 50 years and something can be missing. And especially when you get up into your 50s or older and you think, well, I'm financially secure. Do I want to go through the hassles of creating and building another company and then making a lot of money and then selling it and then buying a bunch of things, which I'm not even sure that I enjoy? Or maybe I'm yearning for something. And I would say to you, and I would say to Chip, is that maybe what we're yearning for is a deep emotional connection with the people we love. We can have relationships where we know we love the people we love. They know we know them, but they don't feel known by us and we don't feel known by them because we don't know how to emotionally connect at a level that feels almost as connected as we were in the womb. And if you've listened to any of this series or watched it, you know that one of the things that I am dedicated to is healing the world one conversation at a time, because I think almost every conversation, except purely business ones, but even business ones, is an opportunity to emotionally connect with the other person. And I think if you can drop your agenda, your materialistic transactional agenda, momentarily to listen to what's going on with the other person and care about it and have them feel that we care about it. And by caring about it, I don't mean throwing advice at them or say, geez, I'm sorry, that sounds rough. It's really leaning in and listening in. And when you can do that and people open up to you, you can create this emotional connection that is pure. And if you've listened to other episodes in the series, there's one called The Power of True Vulnerability, because what's happening is when I'm allowing people to care about me, something that I still have trouble with, I'll sometimes get emotional. I'll just feel they're caring, and I lower my guard completely. And when I lower my guard completely, they lower their guard completely. And then we have a conversation in which we deeply connect and the yearning goes away. So I hope that makes sense to you. And you might want to share this with other people and ask them, what the heck was Mark talking about there? Uh, uh, but I think it's worth considering. If you're not happy, but you're successful, you too might have the syndrome of disavowed yearning.